Today on All Things 80s, Wave 3 of the Retro Collection is now confirmed. Welcome back to All Things 80s, and as I discussed, I think a week ago, about the rumours regarding Wave 3 of Retro Collection, well, I can now confirm those rumours were in fact correct, and Wave 3 will indeed be based on The Mandalorian. Now, they have 7 figures coming out, which we'll talk about in just a second. And I believe these are available for pre-order later today. And the best part is they're not a particular store exclusive. So hopefully there will be no trouble getting hold of these. So let's take a quick look at the 7 figures that Hasbro are going to give us for Wave 3 of Retro Collection. Okay, so starting with the main man, the Mandalorian. Now, it looks pretty decent actually. It's not quite just a recast of Boba Fett, and the vinyl cape is a rather interesting touch, and he comes with 2 weapons, which was always a favourite of mine as a child. Next up we've got IG-11, which appears to be more or less a recast of IG-88 with the additional bandoliers. Only 1 weapon I see, which is interesting, but hopefully it'll be a slightly more sturdy figure than IG-88 was. Now Cara Dune is looking pretty good with those wide hips there. The sculpt seems to be reasonably good actually on the face. It looks like she's got 2 weapons, which is interesting. You know, it looks all right. Now Queel, it's hard to tell from the initial images if he is in scale with the other characters. I imagine he will be similar in height to the original Ugnaughts. The color scheme looks a bit basic, almost like from the Droids line. But overall, it is what it is. Now, Greef Karga, another vinyl caped figure, which is always good in my book. Again, of course, with this being retro, the figures are a pretty basic sculpt, but it looks not too bad at all. And Moff Gideon does look rather nice, with his very much inspired by Darth Vader cape there. Looks as if he's got his little grey moustache, which is nice. Yeah, it looks pretty good. And finally, the Child, which is an interesting figure for a 3 3/4 inch line. We have to assume that if it's in scale with the other figures, this thing will be lucky to be, what, 1/4 inch tall, but it does come with this sort of robotic pram and a little base, and his little frog as the accessory. I'm really not a fan of that at all. It's an absolute sellout on Hasbro's part because they know that people are going to buy this, but I don't particularly like that. Now, what's interesting is this wave does contain 7 figures, as was the case with the previous 2 waves. But unlike the previous 2 waves, you're not being forced to buy a board game that no one is ever going to use to get all 7 figures, which is a bit of a slap in the face to those of us who believe the Retro Collection should be exclusively for the reissues of the classic Kenner figures. But if you are a fan of The Mandalorian and you are a fan of vintage Kenner figures, I'm sure you're going to absolutely love these figures. And the best part is they're not being, sold exclusively at one store. So hopefully there'll be no issues in people getting hold of these, and hopefully Hasbro will learn from this, and any future waves that are connected to the original trilogy will no longer be sold as exclusives. So, what do you think? You like these figures? Personally, I think they look all right. But as I'm strictly old school, and by old school I mean I only want items relating to the original trilogy, I can pretty much say I will not be going out of my way to get hold of these. If, as with the previous waves, they end up going on sale, who knows. But anyway, thank you for watching. Special thanks to the Patreons. Please like, please subscribe, and as always, stay tuned for more videos from All Things 80s.